Hey guys, Freddy here. Welcome back to a modern magazine thing, because this time I'm going to be looking at Dungeons & Dragons Adventurer issue number 34, which I found in my game shop, picked up, and it's kind of heavy, but we'll come to that in a second. Now, I mentioned in my last video that they were also stocking other role-playing magazines, or tabletop gaming magazines, which tend to have far more wargaming in them, but they do touch on role-playing from time to time, just a few pages, and I was considering getting them. But when I went into the store this time, while they had Dungeons & Dragons Adventurer, they didn't have those other magazines. So I'm wondering if there's a bunch of gamers going in and buying these magazines, and that's why I'm not getting every issue of this. They're selling every issue, but there's me and a few other people grabbing the issues when we see them. But I don't know. Again, I might never be able to get a copy, the shop might not stock them, it's just pure chance that I walk into my local shop, the place I go for bread and milk just a few hundred feet from the house, and see it and pick it up before somebody else grabs it. But anyway, let's have a look at Dungeons & Dragons Adventurer issue number 34. So, this is Dungeons & Dragons Adventurer issue number 34. Let's get the bag out of the way, as it makes too much noise and it's all reflecting and getting in the way. So we've got the magazine, and with the issue this time is some more dice, but they're difficult to see through all the packaging, because each dice is individually bagged as well. So as well as a Ziploc bag with them all in, we've got Ziploc bags with the individual dice in, because they are these very, very nice metal dice. There's D20. Those look very pretty indeed. They're very heavy, nice, solid metal dice. Lovely things. Now, the reason they're all packaged separately is to stop them bouncing off one another and chipping that nice green paint off. Another way they could have done that would have been to use one of these metal boxes that they've done in the past. Package them up all separately. Nice restraining foam to stop them chipping. But I'm guessing that the cost of the metal tin and the cost of the metal dice was just too much. So instead of being able to give us a tin, they came up with this idea of just chucking them all in their own Ziploc bags to stop them clinking together. But they are some nice metal dice, I have to say. Okay, let's put them over there. And the magazine itself. Well, new and exclusive adventure. Cleric Domains, Forge and Twilight, Paladin Oaths, Glory and the Watchers, The Evil Dead, Beware the Whites, and Take a Break, Run a Side Quest. Opening up, we've got the contents page telling us where everything goes once we get our big folder and we pull out all these pages and assemble it. I won't be doing that because I'm not getting every issue, so it would be kind of random. But we go straight into a section on side quests. Now this is a very, very nice article. It's not quite up to the Chases one a couple of years ago, but it is very nice indeed. It's talking about introducing small side quests which take part within the main plot and why those are useful and how to do them. So it's a top tip. A side quest might save your game night if one or more players can't make the session. The side quest keeps the rest of the group entertained and your absent players won't miss out on vital story developments. So not all your players can turn up. Do something else this week. It's kind of cool. It also introduces a table with random ideas here. So if you have to make it up on the fly, roll a d8. A local legend tells a magic item hidden in town or a nearby dungeon. Find it. Steal an item held by a rival from a character's backstory or by your story's main villain's henchman. Convince an NPC to reveal a secret about a major villain or character's rival. Rescue an ally captured by a thieves guild or other minor villainous organization. Slay a specific monster. Secure the aid of a creature in the area against a major villain. So you've got all these ideas. It also tells you it's got box out sections, character spotlight. So this is your opportunity to focus on a character who isn't usually the focus of the main plot. Somebody who's being a bit more quiet and not getting everything focused on. You can bring them in by giving them at least 1 week session. You can introduce these through quest boards. So you walk into a village, there's a job board up asking for heroes to go out and find Granny's lost locket, which has been stolen by a thief, and they can hunt them down. Or heroes that need to kill some wolves which are threatening my chickens. Or whatever, just little things that the players can do to help out and earn a small reward. But it also says, instead of just getting money, you can get different types of rewards. So free food and lodging and a local inn whenever the group visits town, a favour from a local lord or dignitary, information relating to the group's main quest, potions or scrolls that aid the group's main quest, a single casting of a high-level spell such as Raise Dead or Teleport, absolutely vital at low level when you don't have access to those spells yourself, fantastic, and temporary aid of magical creatures like a Pegasus, a dragon, or a herd of centaurs. Absolutely great stuff. Would have loved it if it had been more than just 2 pages, though. I would have liked more of these sections giving advice on how to flesh these out. It would have made it absolutely essential, but it's a very, very nice set of pages. Then we're back on to detailing out different subclasses. So we've got the Cleric Forge Domain here. Clerics who create items. So they've got their Forge Domain spells. They've got their further Forge Domain benefits, so they can get a +1 to hit and damage for a weapon, or a +1 bonus to AC for armor until the end of the next turn. Or they can use, at 2nd level, Artisan's Blessing to create small items. So they can create a breastplate or a lockpick set, as long as they've got the resources. And it does mention it's a magical ability. You're even able to create gear that includes non-metal components, such as a breastplate or its straps. Talking about role-playing it. Got some hints in there, inspirations where this would come from. And likewise, we've got the Cleric Twilight Domain. The benefits, role-playing the Twilight Domain inspirations. Then we're on to the Paladin, the Oath of Glory. Talking through their core tenets, their channel divinity, their spellcasting additions, including a spell there. The Oath of Watchers, again, talking about the background of them, their core tenets, channel divinity, extra planar spellcasting additions, and a couple of spells they get. And then we're going on to one of the major characters in the mythos of Dungeons & Dragons, Orcus. Now this, again, is very, very brief. We've got a brief introduction, talking about them as ruler of Thanatos, and the wand of Orcus. And that's it. That's all that Orcus, this major character, gets. Just 2 pages. Maybe they flesh it out further in the future. Maybe he gets extra pages in later issues, but I'm not sure they're going to make a lot of sense just by themselves. We've got the monster of this issue, which is the Wight. And even death cannot stop the evil wants of a Wight. And Deathlock Wights, a sort of subclass of them. And on the back cover, we've got their stats, because they are kind of crowbarred into the adventure. Now, previously, the monsters have generally been the focus of the encounter adventure in each issue. The one which introduced orcs focused on an inn under siege by a tribe of orcs, and the players have to deal with them, perhaps by bargaining with them, perhaps by fighting, but the orcs are the main challenge. In the issue about Sahagrin a few issues ago, it dealt with the players having to go under the sea and looking for a treasure, and the Sahagrin were the major threat. They had some shark pets and things as well, but it was a Sahagrin. The Wight is barely mentioned in this adventure. In fact, I read it over twice before I even noticed the Wight was in the adventure. And the adventure isn't barely an adventure at all, I have to say. It is the players returning after Adventure 2 with the treasure that they've got and taking it to the person that sent them away on the mission. And that leads on to the next adventure. And there's a tiny bit in between. This is useless if you haven't got the other issues, whereas the previous encounters have at least been something you could always use. You know, going into a small tomb, even a couple of issues ago, the one I had, which was just one level of a dungeon. It had quests within that dungeon, what you were doing within that one level. That meant that you could ignore the rest of the dungeon, you could just run that one level as a small encounter. This is useless to you if you don't have the rest. Basically, we've got the players beginning, they are returning from sailing out to the Moonshae Islands, returning to Neverwinter Harbour. They go up to the Stonecliff Manor where they were hired, and the familiar manor staff welcome them and take them to the Lord's study. We've got a boxed out section of them being in the study of Lord Ander Stonecliff. And they have 3 options. They can give Ander the scepter. in which case he gives them a suitcase with various magical items in them, and they get to choose one each. There's an amulet of protection, a periapt of health, necklace of adaptation, amulet against proof against detection and location, periapt of wound closure, and an amulet of the devout, which is pretty nice stuff for a third level party. I can see people finding those useful. If they take that, he also gives them a letter from Lord Neverember, leading on to the next part of the story. Option 2, keeping the scepter. Well, he'll be disappointed, and he will give them the letter anyway. Or option 3, combat. They can attack him. Now he will teleport away. They've got a chance of noticing that the letter is sitting on the desk, so they still get the letter perhaps. And a few moments later, Ander calls to 10 mana guards to subdue the party violently. We've got the letter, basically from a noble within the city, who is hearing about their exploits and invites them to visit him on the eve of the full moon following their return at Castle Never. We've got a boxed out section about destroying the scepter if they want to do that. And then we go on to the second section. They rest in the city, they hear some rumours, and then they get attacked by assassins. A group of 5 cultists approaches the party in their sleeping quarters. If the adventurers gave the scepter to Lord Anders, the cultists worship Orcus and have a wight with them. If they did not give Anders the scepter, the cultists worship Asmodeus and have a hellhound with them. So the wight perhaps doesn't even turn up in the adventure if the players haven't played that last scene. It's so minor and it's so just thrown in. The party sleeps in the tavern. You can use a map of the House of a Thousand Faces, see Encounter 23. Aftermath. After spending several days in the city, time comes to meet Lord Neverember in Castle Never. At the end of this adventure, the characters reach 4th level. And that's it. They meet a guy, and then they get ambushed in their tavern. Maybe they hear some rumours. And we've got the stat blocks for the cultists, the guards, the hellhound, and as I said before, the wight. Now, there's not a lot in this one. As I said, I really do like the side quests. I suppose if you're going to play them, the different subclass information's handy, even if it is just fairly low-level stuff. The stuff on Orcus doesn't feel fleshed out, and the adventure's useless if you're not buying every issue of this. Although perhaps that's the idea, that by this point you should be buying every issue. But the way I get them, I'm not getting every issue. So that was Dungeons & Dragons Adventurer issue number 34. And while those are some lovely dice, the magazine itself's very disappointing. While there's the one article on side quests which is pretty interesting, it is not as detailed as I would have liked. The issue which had the section on chases, which was 6 pages and broke them down wonderfully, set the high point for me. And if they'd done the same with side quests in this issue, it would have been a standout issue. But unfortunately there's that, there's the stuff on Orcus, there's stuff on classes, and then there's a pretty useless adventurer because I haven't had the issue before, and I'm unlikely to get the next issue, just because of the way I'm buying them. So it's a useless adventure, making the entire thing very lackluster. But again, lovely dice. But anyway, I think I've been wittering on for quite long enough as usual, so thank you very much for watching. As always, most of all, you look after yourselves, and I'll catch you later. Bye now.